Hey everyone, so if you've been watching any international cricket recently, you might have seen something, well, a little different. It's just a small logo on a team's uniform, but believe me, it signals a massive shift in the sport. So yeah, let's dive into this subtle but really seismic change that's been nearly 20 years in the making. Okay, so it all starts right here. In their 2024 Test series against Australia, the West Indies players walk onto the field, and there on their kits are logos for Dafabet and BetBricks. Now, for anyone who's followed cricket for a while, this was a real wait, what moment? Because for almost 2 decades, something like this was completely, totally forbidden. And that is the big question, isn't it? Weren't betting logos explicitly banned from international cricket kits? The answer is yes. Yes, they were. Which, of course, leads to the next question. What on earth changed? To understand that, we've got to go back.
You see, the original ban wasn't just some random rule they came up with. No, this was a shield that was forged in the fire of one of cricket's absolute darkest periods, and it was designed to protect the very integrity of the game.
This timeline really tells the whole story. It's a perfect cause and effect. The late 90s, they were just rocked by these huge match-fixing scandals. It all came to a head in 2000 with the shocking confession of the South African captain, Hansie Cronje, a guy who was a hero to millions, who was then banned for life. The fallout from that was just immense, and in 2005, the ICC finally acted, and they acted decisively, banning all betting logos from players' kits. Period.
And this quote right here from the ICC president at the time, Malcolm Gray, it just perfectly captures the mood. There was a real sense of crisis, a feeling that they had almost waited too long to save the sport's reputation. This wasn't some minor policy change, it was a desperate move to try and get that trust back. So, the ban was in place. But here's the thing about big money, right? It always finds a way in. While direct betting ads were out, the industry got creative. They found a back door, and it was a strategy that we now know as surrogate advertising.
It's a really clever, if you want to call it that, workaround. It works like this. If you can't advertise your betting site, what do? Well, you create a news website or maybe a sporting goods line with a name and a logo that look almost identical to your betting company. Then you advertise that instead. You're building brand recognition for the real product, just indirectly.
And here are some perfect examples. You've got these huge offshore betting brands. 1xBet becomes 1xBet. Dafabet becomes Dafa News. Paramatch, well, that's now Paramatch News. You see the pattern, right? It's a pretty thin disguise, let's be honest. But for years, it was just enough to get by in the gray areas of the advertising rules.
And these surrogate brands, they were absolutely everywhere. They were sponsoring teams in domestic leagues like the Tamil Nadu Premier League. They were all over the pitch side hoardings, on giant billboards, and of course, all over social media. They were literally unavoidable, which just goes to show you that even with an official ban, the industry's influence never really went away. And this is why. Just look at this number. This is the estimated ad spend by these offshore betting companies in India alone, back in 2022. That's almost $500 million US. So the financial pressure on sports organizations to find a way to get a piece of that pie was, and still is, just immense. Which brings us right up to the turning point. After 18 years of the official ban and years of this whole cat and mouse game with surrogate ads, the International Cricket Council quietly made a huge decision in May of 2023. And the change itself couldn't be more direct. I mean, look at this. The old rule, its main objective was, and I quote, to prohibit advertising connected with betting. After May 2023, that whole part was just gone, wiped away. The new rule basically says individual cricket boards can now make their own decisions for the cricket they control.
So, in effect, the ICC just washed its hands of the decision. They passed the power down the line, saying to countries like the West Indies or South Africa or Australia, look, for your own home series, for your own domestic tournaments, it's your call now.
And that one decision, well, it immediately opened the floodgates. It pushed us into the new era that we're in right now, where betting logos aren't hiding behind a news suffix anymore. Nope, they're right out in the open.
Which brings us full circle, right back to where we started. The West Indies were simply the first international team to jump on this new freedom. They signed deals that put those logos front and center in a major test series, and that was just the first domino to fall. And look, this isn't some isolated incident. Not at all. Betway already has deals with both Cricket South Africa and Cricket West Indies. Major T20 leagues like the Big Bash in Australia and the Pakistan Super League have had betting partners. Really, the only place you won't see them is at the big ICC events like the World Cup, but the key phrase there is for now.
So this is really the heart of it all. Cricket is at a major crossroads. On one hand, you have the undeniable need for commercial revenue to fund the game around the world. But on the other hand, you have the exact same concerns about the game's integrity and the normalization of gambling that led to the ban in the first place.
And that leaves us with this final, really critical question. The ICC has passed the responsibility on to the individual boards, and those boards are under massive financial pressure. So as the money from this industry just gets louder and more influential, you have to ask who is ultimately responsible for protecting the soul of the game. That's something for all of us who love this sport to really think about.